Hey, Foundry Church. My name is Kristen Keene, and I have the absolute joy of being on staff at the Foundry. I am the First Impressions and Serve Coordinator, and today I have the privilege of getting to walk with you in our devotions. We have been in the book of Mark since January, and today we're going to zone in on and focus on Mark chapter 9, verse 2 to 8, where we're going to hear about the transfiguration of Jesus. So walk with me, and we're going to hear it from it. So, Scripture says, and after 6 days, Jesus took with him Peter, James, and John, which, as a side note, were 3 of his disciples. And he led them up a high mountain by themselves. And there, Jesus transfigured before them. His clothes became radiant, intensely white, as no one on earth could bleach them. And there appeared to them Moses and Elijah, and they were talking with Jesus. And Peter said to Jesus, "Rabbi, it is good that we are here. Let us make 3 tents, one for you, one for Moses, and one for Elijah." For he did not know what to say, for they were terrified. And a cloud overshadowed them, and out of the cloud they heard a voice saying, "This is my beloved Son. Listen to him." And suddenly, looking around, Peter, James, and John saw nobody else with them but Jesus only. So, as I thought about this scripture and I reflected on it, I came to the realization that one of my many faults is discomfort with silence. So, in that void, I tend to try to fill it with, I might make a joke, or I laugh nervously, or I'll say something that probably doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But if I look back on this scripture, I realize that sometimes the best thing to do is to remain silent and just soak in the moment, savor it. So in this scripture, we get to read about this epic moment where Peter, James, and John get to witness Jesus talking with Moses and Elijah, who were 2 great prophets and leaders in the Old Testament. So Peter has no idea what to say. So he starts kind of yammering on about making 3 places for Jesus, Moses, and Elijah. And it's at that moment that a cloud overshadows them. And they hear the voice of God saying, "This is my beloved Son. Listen to him." Can you imagine? I think about relationships that we're a part of, and every relationship is a 2-way street. And this includes our relationship with God. And I know that so often in my walk with God, I can be the one that's doing all the talking. Now, don't get me wrong. God asks us to talk to him. He wants us to lay down our hearts, our fears, our anxieties, and our praises at his feet. He desires that. But on the other side, he also asks us to listen, take time to be silent and hear his voice. So church, will you join me as I challenge myself to listen to God? So I know this is something that's going to take repetitiveness and intentionality and work to create a habit and a rhythm of making space to listen to God. But I am convinced that there is no better way to receive peace and joy than to allowing and letting God speak into your life. So you want to hear some really cool things about this passage in Scripture? If you sneak back to the Old Testament in the book of Exodus, in chapter 19, Moses encounters God on a mountain, on Mount Sinai. And then, if you go ahead about 400 years, in the book of 1 Kings, chapter 19, we read of God commanding Elijah to go up on a mountain so that he can pass him by. And the presence of God is in the gentle whisper. So how cool is it that, as we read in Mark chapter 9, 2 to 8, Who does Jesus encounter on the mountain with the disciples? Moses and Elijah. I love how Scripture always echoes Scripture. Have a great day, Foundry Church. See you next week, same time. Bye.